Hello, and welcome to the X Financial First Quarter 2020 Earnings Conference Call. All participants will be in a listen-only mode. Should you need assistance, please signal a conference specialist by pressing the star key followed by 0. After today's presentation, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. To ask a question, you may press star then 1 on your touch-tone phone. Please note this event is being recorded. I would now like to turn the conference over to Tanya Wen. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. The company's results were released earlier today and are available on the company's IR website at ir.xiaoyinggroup.com. On the call today from X Financial are Mr. Simon Chen, President, and Mr. Kevin Zhang, Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Chen will give a brief overview of the company's business operations and highlights, followed by Mr. Zhang, who will go through the financials and the guidance. They are all available to answer your questions during the Q&A session. I remind you that this call may contain forward-looking statements under the safe harbor provisions of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Expectations and the current market and operating conditions, and relate to events that involve known or unknown risks, conditions, uncertainties, and other factors, all difficult to predict, and many of which are beyond the company's control, which may cause the company's actual results, performance, or achievements to differ materially from those in the forward-looking statements. Further information regarding this and other risks, uncertainties, and factors is included in the company's filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not undertake any obligations to update any forward-looking statements as a result of new information, further events, or otherwise, except as required under law. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Simon Chen. Mr. Chen, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Despite the challenges created by the coronavirus disease, COVID-19, adversely impacting our operating environment, we made meaningful progress in expanding institutional funding for all new loan products originated on our platform during the quarter. Institutional funding accounts for 81.7% of the loan facilitated in the first quarter, an increase from 50.2% in the previous quarter. We rapidly built upon this with institutional funding, with now accounting for 100% of loan facilitated throughout our platform. As of March 30th, 2020, the total credit line provided by our institutional partners expanded to RMB 50.6 billion from RMB 46.7 billion as of December 31st, 2019. Given the current uncertainties in the market, this further proves our asset quality and risk management capabilities continue to be well recognized by our institutional partners despite the impact from the pandemic. We remain in active negotiation with funding partners to further decrease our funding cost and further expand our funding partners, which could bring down funding costs going forward. As President, we have ample funding resources to meet growing demand as consumer sentiment improves. We continue to adopt a strategic and disciplined approach to our risk management and have implemented stricter criteria when assessing borrowers, because we believe it's even more important now for the sustainability of our business. To strengthening our ability to generate stronger results when the market is expected to rebound during the second half of 2020. An adjustment period is therefore expected and is reflected in the lower number of active borrowers during the quarter. The number of active borrowers this quarter was 228,366. It is a decrease of 29.7% from 609,368 in the fourth quarter of 2019. Over the past few quarters, we continued to ramp up our technology-driven risk infrastructure and strengthened customer acquisition to successfully manage a rise in the delinquency rate during the peak of pandemic. Where restrictions put in place to contain the pandemic continue to ease and life returns to normal, we have seen an improvement in delinquency rates from April 2020. We also saw a significant rebound both in loan facilitation amount and numbers of active borrowers, which strengthen our confidence in the gradual recovery taking place in China. Overall, the evolving health crisis and growing impacts from COVID-19 have weighed heavily on consumer sentiment in China, which is reflected in the performance of Yaoqianhua and the Xiaoying online mall during the quarter. Also, in order to control the impact of COVID-19, we have taken a more stringent risk policies. Therefore, the GMV of Xiaoying online mall declined 62.2% from the fourth quarter of 2019 to RMB 60.8 million. Despite of this, the number of active users of Yaoqianhua reached around 463,000 as of March 31st, 2020, representing an increase from roughly 408,000 as of December 31st, 2019. Transaction volume of Yaoqianhua only declined slightly to RMB 2 billion and 192 million from RMB 2 billion and 204 million in the last quarter. Yaoqianhua's outstanding loan balance increased to RMB 1 billion and 801 million as of March 31st, 2020, from RMB 1 billion and 503 million as of December 31st, 2019. Now it has approved cumulative credit line of RMB 11 billion with credit utilization rate around 28% as of March 31st, 2020. We believe the pandemic has significantly affected consumer behavior, but in doing so, also created many more new opportunities for us to drive further growth. In addition, China's central and local governments have recently been rolling out a series of policies to improve business. As we continue to evolve from pure financial services provider to a more comprehensive business service provider, we are confident we are well positioned to not just survive this challenging environment, but thrive when the market rebounds. Now I will take the call to Kevin, who will go through our financials.
Thank you, Simon, and hello everyone. The first quarter 2020 was a challenge quarter. The total loan facilitation amount was RMB 6,823 million, representing a decline compared with our previous announced guidance. We are taking decisive action to streamline expenses against weaker top line, but remain confident that demand for our highly customized personal finance solutions will once again strengthen as the recovery from the pandemic unfolds. Our revenue and net income decreased both quarter-over-quarter and year-over-year, even though the total number of loans facilitated of Xiaoying term loans in the first quarter decreased year-over-year. The average loan amount per transaction was RMB 15,700, an increase of 37% from same period of 2019, and an increase of 7.8% sequentially. The average consumption amount per user of Xiaoying revolving loan also increased 3.8% from fourth quarter of 2019 to RMB 8,600. We are also pleased to see total cumulative registered users on the platform reach to 43,000 million as of March 31st, 2020, demonstrating the continued value that we are able to offer borrowers, even during such challenging market conditions. The percentage of loan products we facilitated that were covered by Zhongyuan Insurance decreased further to 67.7% during the quarter as we continue to reduce our insurance coverage rate to lower our customer borrowing costs. In this space, we have expanded our partnerships with additional third-party, high-quality financial guarantee companies to strengthen trust in the quality of underlying assets and risk management systems. We are squarely focused on our mission to create more value for our customers and shareholders. After successfully adapting to the regulatory change in 2019, we are now navigating the ongoing impact of health crisis is having on the industry in 2020. While regulatory and capital requirements continue to put pressure on the sustainability of the sector this year, we remain in full compliance with current regulations and are confident in our ability to stand out among our peers by capitalizing on market consolidation and increasing protection of our investors. We will continue to prioritize operational efficiency in driving long-term value for our shareholders. We believe that the worst days were already past. April is the turning month for the year, and we found a lower delinquency rate and a recovery in loan volume in the second quarter. We also see positive progress in regulations. In May 2020, CBIRC issued a regulation on commercial banks' online lending business. This significantly reduced the uncertainty of co-lending model, which was our current key business model. What's more, we are very confident in that we are close to get the nationwide online microloan license, and we believe that Exponential will be the first batch of companies in Shenzhen to get the microloan license. Now, I would like to brief some financial performance. I will not go through every detailed line. You may refer to more details in our earnings release. The net revenues decreased by 31.9% to RMB 529 million, from RMB 776 million in the same period of 2019, primarily due to a decrease in transaction volumes as more stringent risk policies taking place to address COVID-19 impact. Originating and servicing expenses increased by 26.2% to RMB 425 million, from RMB 336 million in the same period of 2019, primarily due to the following factors. First, an increase in customer acquisition costs for the revolving credit product, Yao Qianhua, and second, an increase in interest expense related to loans facilitated through the consolidated trust. G&A expenses increased by 24% to RMB 69 million, from RMB 56 million in the same period of 2019, primarily due to an increase in management fee paid to third-party trust companies compared with the same period of 2019. Sales and marketing expenses decreased by 61.5% to RMB 11.8 million, from RMB 30.7 million in the same period of 2019, primarily due to a reduction in promotional and advertising expenses since the outbreak of COVID-19. Provision for contingent currency liability was 17 $17.9 million, primarily attributed to the increase caused by the pandemic in estimated default rate of the loans subject to guarantee liability facilitated in prior periods. Provision for accounts receivable and contract assets increased by 23.7% to RMB 82.1 million from RMB 66.4 million in the same period of 2019, primarily due to a combined effect of the new current expected credit loss model that took into account the deterioration in the economic outlook caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, and B, an increase in the estimated default rate since the COVID-19 outbreak. Provision for loans receivable was RMB 42.8 million compared with RMB 7.5 million in the same period of 2019, primarily due to the increase of expected credit loss for revolving loan products when compared with the first quarter of 2019. Non-GAAP adjusted net loss attributed to its financial shareholder was RMB 159.9 million, compared with non-GAAP adjusted net income attributed to its financial shareholders of RMB 251.2 million in the same period of 2019. Non-GAAP adjusted net loss per basic and diluted ADS were RMB 1 and RMB 1 respectively, compared with non-GAAP adjusted net income per basic and diluted ADS of RMB 1.64 and RMB 1.56 respectively in the same period of 2019. As the company continues to assess the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak and market indicators around the recovery in the first half of 2020, it is anticipated that the company's total loan facilitation amount of the second quarter of 2020 will also be negatively impacted, and the company expects that second quarter loss with drop in revenue. The company plans to provide a business update in the second quarter 2020 earnings release. This forecast reflects company's current and preliminary reviews, which are subject to change. Now, this concludes our prepared remarks, and we'd like to open the call to questions. Operator, please.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. To ask a question, you may press star then 1 on your touch-tone phone. If you are using a speakerphone, please pick up your handset before pressing the keys. To withdraw your question, please press star then 2. At this time, we will pause momentarily to assemble our roster. Again, if you have a question, please press star then 1. Showing no questions at this time, this concludes our question and answer session. I would like to turn the conference back over to Tanya Wen for any closing remarks.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us on the call today. If you haven't got a chance to raise your questions, we will be pleased to answer them through follow-up contacts. We look forward to speaking with you again in the near future. Thank you.
The conference is now concluded. Thank you for attending today's presentation. You may now disconnect.